Shalom. This is your fellow servant Tazawar with another lesson. First, I want to start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Makakwadash, and a sincere double shalom and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and to the brothers and sisters, the Akim and the Akwathium, who are listening and learning, and the speckled birds scattered abroad. To you, I say shalom. This is another basic lesson for those of us whom are in the truth, and how we know that we are indeed the people of Israel. I'm just going to get you a couple scriptures, but as always, do your due diligence and seek to learn these things and understand these things on your own. Let's start in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, because this is right here, as it says. I'm in the Blue Letter Bible. You can get that on the website or on the app. It's a great resource to have. The heading just above verse 15, it says consequences of disobedience. All right, now these consequences are what us in the Israelite community refer to as the curses. All right. Now, as I stated in earlier videos, these curses are a cornerstone for how you can recognize who the children of Israel are, because the covenant, all right, which was the agreement made between the Creator, whom is Yahweh, all right, our power, and the chosen people, the Israelites. All right, now these curses only fit the Israelites because we were the only people under contract. Okay? So, verse 15, it says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." All right. So this is why we refer to them as the curses, because it's biblical, scriptural, right there. It tells you. Now let's just scroll through and grab a couple. All right. Well, the first two really, verse 16 and 17, talk about cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. All right. So that's talking about literally in the city or a town. All right. And in the field, whether that be if you're working in the field or if you own your own field. All right. That the harvest would not, the earth would not yield itself unto you to a bountiful harvest. And it goes into that in further detail later on in the chapter. All right, but many of us reference this field as when we were serving in slavery. All right. Cursed shall thy basket and thy store. All right. The reason I'm reading this one is because even today, it's like small business owners, or if you got a side hustle, if you got LLC, S corp, C corp, whatever they call it, or if you just operating, so what they call that, sole proprietorship. All right, which first of all is unwise, but if you just getting up start on your business, man, you have some challenges. All right, just to break even, really. I'm not even gonna say to turn a profit, but we definitely know that this curse number 17 does not fit the Amalekites. All right, the small hats, the so-called the people whom identify as Israelis. Because many of them are well-to-do. Many of them earn above the median wage in America, as they call it. So very few of them are poor, or either at the poverty line or below it. All right. And many of them have successful businesses. That's actually what they're known for. If you reference, to give you something out of the world, Kanye went into that. All of the businesses and success that they've had in different industries and how they overlap. Okay, so right there, those first two curses, they don't fit the people who claim to be the people of the book. All right. Let's move on down, see if we can find something a little more pricking to your conscience, you people. Notice I have the NLT on the right side and the King James on the left. So verse 28, the Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. All right. So if you look at the NLT, the New Living Translation, on the right, it says the Lord will strike you with madness, blindness, and panic. All right. So that astonishment of heart goes in that not having any courage. All right. And madness means to be crazy. All right. Not that you walking around pissed off at the world. Like some people be talking about hey, when a Jake when a so-called black man walk in the room, all you smell is cocoa butter and frustration. You know what I'm saying? This is referring to being out of your wits, insanity. All right, madness. That's an old English term. All right, and then it says let's go down to 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Right? Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. All right? All of these things happen to the so-called Israelites Slovakia, to the so-called blacks, Hispanics, as well as the Native Americans, whom are the biblical Israelites. All right, we are the chosen people. We are the true people of the book. All right, this happened during colonialism. All right, during all the manifest destiny and when you go into the history of the conquistadors and, you know, Cortez and all his people, Columbus, when he came over and landed on Hispaniola, the island of Hispaniola, which is now known as Dominican Republic and Haiti. All right, what's the first thing that we usually say as an oppressed people? The rape, robbery, and murder. Okay? Well, right here it says, you shall be betrothed to a wife, engaged, all right, to a woman, and another man will lie with her, will sleep with her. All right? And that's happening to this very day, you know? Because our women run around here loose and shit, but that's another story. That's another lesson. All right, but we can get that in the curses too. A little bit further down. I'm, you know, Lord willing, I'll get that for you. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. When did this happen to the small hats, the Ish community? When did they build houses and didn't live in them? When did they plant vineyards, all right, and shall not gather the grapes thereof? And not just vineyards. This really goes into any crop, all right, any garden, anything that you have to harvest, all right, because our people went from slaves to sharecroppers, you know, really indentured servants, and then sharecroppers, all right. So, and then during those times, you weren't given a fair wage. You still ain't given a fair wage. That's all the way up until today. All right, but many of the structures that were built in times past, you know, during the establishment of this country, during the industrialization era of this country, were built by so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right, and you niggas still can't get housing, man. You know, our people, man, either live on a reservation, you know, Section 8, all right, the slums, the projects, or an apartment. You know what I'm saying? That's the majority of us. You know, if you blessed to have a house, to purchase a house, you know, then that's exactly what that is. You know, then the Lord has blessed you with that. But that's not the majority of our people. That's few and far in between, you know. And then to even get a house, you got to jump through all kind of hoops, man. Be scrutinized on every level. Your finances, you know, they want to know where you work at, how long you been working there, how much money you make. You know, what's your debt to income ratio? You know, then they give you subprime lending. All right, high ass interest rates. What that mean? All right, and then they jack up the price on the house that you finna get, because it might not even be worth what they charging you for. Not to mention there's redlining. So many of us can't even move into the communities that we want to. You know, lower crime areas, all right, or areas that may have better school systems or what have you. So they still make it difficult. But you look at the construction force, whether that's paving roads or building houses or whatever, man, that's mostly Israelites. All right. These days it tends to be more the Northern Kingdom, the Hispanics, so-called Hispanics. All right. Verse 32, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. Tell me when this happened in mass to any other nation. What group of people is known? First off, what group of people is known by their slavery? That slavery is an identity marker for them. You know, that's us. Most other groups, you know, they have some form of a heritage that they can turn to. They have a flag, a country, you know, a language, religion, a culture that they can turn to. But you niggas, you know, and that includes Northern Kingdom and you Native Americans, because so-called Native Americans, because many so-called Native Americans are classified as black today. All right, but many of you niggas, man, we're just known as children of the diaspora, children of the slave trade. All right, every February, they make sure to remind you niggas of your place with Black History Month. And that's where your history started. And that's a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, thy sons and daughters, and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. All right? They broke up entire families, man. Selling off the husband from the wife, you know, after the slave master slept with her a bunch of times. Then he sold the man off, then sold the kids off. All right, this go back up to verse 33. You compare that with verse 17. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation without which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always. You know? Tell me when any of this stuff that I'm reading happened to the Ish community. Or not even them. Just give me a group of people that fit these few verses that I've read. I'll wait. (37) And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. So after we were scattered into all nations, then it says we will become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations. So not only will we scatter to all those nations, but every single one of them nations hate our guts. You known as a nigga here in America, and you can go to China They still gonna call you a nigga. Right? And them is two totally different nations of people, man. You got your European, so-called European, all right, whom really is an Edomite. And then you got your Asian man, your Chinese man, right? Whom is the Moabites, is their biblical nationality. But they'll call you a nigga too. Yo, even Africans call us niggas. Because they know we ain't the same as them. A kata. Alright? Cotton picker, slave. Verse 39 talks about the vineyards. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worm shall eat them. That also goes back to verse 17 up in the chapter. All right. Verse 43, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. Who in our communities, in our neighborhoods, when we do get our little, after they red line the fuck out of us, cordon us off and say, all right, we gonna push all them niggas over here to the lowest corner of the city, right? Like a bunch of fucking degenerates. You know, the place that nobody want to be, whether it's next to railroad tracks or fucking power stations or, you know, land that's always flooding and shit, or maybe it's just close to a dump. All right, like a literal garbage dump where they, or maybe it's just a rundown part of town that, you know, they've designated. Because, you know, you got these politicians, man, and I ain't even talking about on the high level. I'm talking about city officials, man. Don't you know they got 15, 20-year plans? And so when they designate a certain area and say, oh, you know, we just not going to invest any money into this area over here, that's where they stuff all of us at. They just shove all the niggas, Hispanics, and Native Americans over there. They just push us all to one fucking corner, man. Anyway, when we get that little section, and then you got a few people that try to like take care of what, you know, what we can afford or what we get, then here come, you know, Shoshin Pao Asian buffet. You know what I'm saying? Serving you all kind of abominable food and shit. Then water roaches, which y'all call shrimp and lobster and crab and all that shit. Fucking water roaches. You know what I'm saying? Don't be no more damn strays running around the neighborhood. They feed you that shit. They'll coat that shit in damn barbecue sauce and feed it to you niggas in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? $12 a plate. Or you go to the gas station and it ain't owned by none of us. Ain't no Hispanics owning no gas stations. Ain't no Native Americans or no niggas got no gas stations. It be Middle Eastern, so-called Middle Eastern people. So-called Arabs. I'll say like that. Because we are, you know, quote-unquote Middle Eastern. If you really want to get down to it, ain't no such thing as the damn Middle East. That's another lesson too. You know? But yeah, they... And the fucked up part about it is... The fucked up part about it is... The Arabs, who are Shemites, right? Supposed to have an Eastern religion, Eastern philosophy, Abrahamic religion, right? They supposed to not do certain things, they gonna bring all the shit that they don't do and give it to you niggas. You know what I'm saying? Colt 45, Billy D. Williams and shit, OE, that old English, that motherfucking Wild Irish Rose and some Henny and shit. I used to be a nigga, man, drinking that fucked up shit. Used to get them damn Colt 45 double malts, them 22 ounce bottles, because they ain't have them in the 40s. That shit's fucking poison though, man. Meanwhile, they destroying us and getting rich. Anyway. Y'all, I mean, verse 44 is pretty much self-explanatory. Verse 45, it say, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearest, Salakia, thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. All right. And they shall, verse 46, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. All right. So all the stuff, all the curses, all the bullshit we went through, and still going through, meaning you could be one of the few, you know, quote unquote minorities, one of the few niggas that make it through the cracks, right? Somehow you slip past the glass ceiling. All right, maybe you a token nigga, right? Or maybe you just that damn good. Maybe your grind and hustle game that strong, and you somehow you make it, right? In whatever industry, it don't matter. It could be sports, entertainment. That's really all they look at us as anyways, fucking entertainment. Right? But we have so much more that we've offered this place, man. All the inventions and everything else we've done. Open heart surgery. All right? Fiber optic cables. Look at Hidden Figures, man. CCTV, which is closed caption television. All right, I mean closed circuit television. That's like security cameras. All right, but the list goes on. Stoplight, refrigerator. I mean, we've done so much, right? But none of our accomplishments are credited to us and are celebrated. We are known by our curses. We just niggas, spicks, jigaboos, wetbacks, savage, Indian. You know what I'm saying? All those are fucking bywords, man. That's what we known by. And if you make it, like I said, if you make it by chance or it's calculated, don't let you have too much air in your chest, because what they'll let you know, hey nigga, you still a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Shut up and dribble the ball. Run that football. Dribble that basketball. Do a 360 dunk. All right? They let us know every so often that we're to be seen and not heard like children. Right? Then what it say right here, verse 46, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So let's say you made it out. You made it. Right? And just for the record, the true men of the Lord, we are not that's not our focus, man. We're not obsessed with making it in this fucking place. But let's just say you did make it. Somebody listening. All right? Well-to-do, 2 and 3 generations. You might not be Forbes top 5 or whatever, right? But your Beyonce's, whoever, right? They got riches that they passing down, generational wealth, or the early stages of generational wealth. Because maybe you like 1 or 2 people removed out of the slums of poverty. Guess what? Your seed, them children you have, guess what? They niggas too. Even though they grew up, you know, with a fucking silver spoon in their mouth. Went to all the best schools. They articulate, they speak well. All right, they dress the part. Hey, don't get out of step. You still a nigga. For a sign and a wonder upon thy seed forever. All right. Verse 48. Then it says, thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed you. A yoke of iron is like, that's shackles that go around your neck, for lack of a better word. All right? That's that shit, the chain gang type stuff. That's a yoke of iron. If you Google that and look up yoke of iron right now, you're going to have pictures of so-called blacks, the so-called Negro, in chains. Right? In slavery. That's what's going to show up. All right? And if they was to do a modern picture of that shit, you know what it'll be? Niggas in the system with modern day shackles on. The ones that go around your fucking feet, and then they got that long rope that go up to the cuff that's on your hands, around your wrist, and they got that long fucking rope that connects your fucking the ankle shackles to your wrist shackles. You gotta you in there short stepping and shit, baby stepping. And our people are destroyed a couple hundred years ago to, you know, up until now. Even though all they did was remove the borders of the plantation, man. I still gotta punch a clock every fucking day. 6 days a week, I go fucking punch a clock, man. Our people are destroyed, man. So like it for the background noise, it's raining. Alright, but you can go through here, man, and you'll see every curse I've read fits so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Alright? And for you black-only Israelites out there, you niggas, the Native Americans went through that shit first. And then the Hispanics went through it. And then the so-called Negro. Because they had to come wipe out and clear the land first. So they destroyed the so-called Native Americans. Put them on reservations. Put them in chains. Alright? Around the same fucking time, they got you Hispanics. You Aztecs, Incas, Mayan, alright? Taino, Boricua, which is Taino, but you know, Caribbean Indians, the Maroons and all of that. Yeah. Before the slave ships, what you think they was doing when they landed over there? In the Caribbean, on Hispaniola, man. Puerto Rico, Cuba. They subdued those people first. And then they carted Jake over here in fucking slave ships, packed up like sardines. So yes, Native Americans and Hispanics went through slavery and all the same damn curses, man, that we reading about. So-called Native Americans and Hispanics, all right? Verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave. Now let's examine this verse. So that the man that is tender among you is very delicate, and his eye shall be evil toward his brother. That sounds like self-hate to me. Black on black crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime, Native American on Native American crime, black on Hispanic crime, black on Native American crime, and vice versa. All right, it's Israelite on Israelite crime is what it is. You know, and they can spout that bullshit like, oh, you know, every community have violence among their own community first. Yeah, but nobody has the highest fucking rate as we do. And again, that's not what the other demographics of people are known for. We known for hating our own fucking people. That's part of the curses, right? That's why. All right, Salakia. This is why when you niggas get to bitching and moaning, crying and carrying on, marching, putting niggas on t-shirts, this is why your oppressor can say, oh, shut up, nigga. What about the gang violence? What about black on black crime? What about black and Hispanic crime? Well, yeah, well, I mean, you can't say that ain't a fucking talking point. You know what I'm saying? You niggas give the demons, the devil's ammunition against us, man. His eye shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom. All right? That means you and your old lady ain't gonna see eye to eye. Y'all gonna be clashing. And toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave. They gotta think, man, they have a, yo, one of my closest, one of the people closest to me, man, got a baby by a so-called white woman, right? You know what this bitch posted on social media? Once you go black, you become a single mom. Really? Don't no other demographic of man, no other group of men have that stigma. Not wanting their children. Not want to take care of their kids. You know? And then it say right here, just a couple lines up, you ain't gonna see eye to eye with your rib, with your wife, man. So when you do impregnate her, she being a damn demon and want to keep you away from your child. They forget about that part. But all these curses work in perfect unison, man. They work together to place our people in this low condition, man. It's a mighty work what our power has done to us. And it should strike fear in you niggas, man. Anybody got any damn sense? Alright? Now, if you go to verse 56, it say, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. Niggas ain't shit. Right? And then you got the men talking about, oh, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. I was guilty of saying that shit. I mean, you look around today, I mean, the shoe fit, you know, what? Get the walking, bitch. But anyway, hey, those are terrible fucking proverbs, if you will. What I read earlier, a proverb, a byword, right? You and your seed, right? So even among ourselves, but the other nations know of all of these negative sayings, these proverbs against us. And you got our own people reinforcing this shit, man. That's the fucked up part about it. But if you understand, they're curses. This is what I'm saying. Don't no other group of people fit what I'm reading. They just don't. And if you can't see it, then either you have cognitive dissonance, you in denial, you simple as fuck, or possibly a combination of all of that shit. But ultimately it means that the Lord has closed your eyes. Alright? But if I was to just go down this list right here and read these without even mentioning the word Israelite or curses, if I was just to read this to the average person in the street just walking by, they would be like, oh yeah, that's sound like a you know, a black person or a Hispanic person. All right. You know, people really don't talk about the Native Americans like that, the so-called Native Americans. But again, a lot of you so-called blacks are actually what the world would call Native Americans. You're actually Northern Kingdom. All right. So-called Native American. But anyway, it says our woman was so tender, man. She wouldn't even set her foot on the ground. Imagine being carried, for you women out there, you sisters, imagine being carried around like actual princesses. Where do you think they got that shit from, man? When you see this shit in the movies. You think these other nations made that shit up? Fuck no. They stole that shit from us like they take everything else from us. We do something, everybody else want to copy. You know what I'm saying? But you got Big Shirley and Bertha out here. You know what I'm saying? Masculine as fuck. 220 pounds. Trying to box a man and shit. (57) And toward her young one that come out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear. All right? For she shall eat them for want of all things, secretly in the siege, in the straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. All right? Get that in the NLT. She will hide them, the afterbirth, and the new baby she has born, so that she herself can secretly eat them. She will have nothing else to eat during the siege and terrible distress that your enemy will inflict on your towns. All right? This is going into 70 AD, but really, this application here, this can be applied towards how the women today treat their children, as far as using them as a token, a means to get money. You know what I'm saying? You get knocked up just so you can put a nigga on child support, or just to get government assistance. All right? Or maybe some children that need housing or whatever. You know, you foster kids, they get mistreated or whatever. But this one here say that come out from between her feet. And that's what most women look at their child as, you know, like dollar signs. All right? For she shall eat them for want of all things. That's what that's talking about. She shall eat them for, not literally, but her children are being consumed because she want money and the housing, you know what I'm saying, that she don't really got to pay for, that cushy life, you know, Section 8, or maybe she lucky enough to land a nigga that got some money, right? And if he ain't got no money, maybe he got a good ass work ethic and go out there and break his fucking back just to, you know, get a couple, you know, get a box to stay in, you know, some wheels to push around, and a couple trinkets. But women don't really look at their children as a blessing, as a means to further that man's legacy, because that's really what children are, an extension of that of the father's legacy. All right. You can go on down. We always bring out, here go verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. All right. Now we are scattered into every direction of wind. All right. You can find children of the diaspora, as the world calls it, of the slave trade, everywhere on the planet. So that's true, because you can't find Israelis everywhere on the planet. For one, they're too small in number as a group to be scattered every fucking where. All right. You might got a few in certain places, but everywhere, oh, you can find niggas everywhere. And that means you Latinos too, man. Like I said, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that group, we're all one family line, all right? So if you consider that as a nation being scattered to the four winds, that's a huge number of people, man, in a very large demographic. We are everywhere. And it says we shall serve other gods. All right, even wood and stone. All right. A lot of people reference the stone as Islam, you know, they worship that rock. In Christianity, some people say that's the cross, you know. The wood is the cross or whatever. But people actually carve gods out of wood and stone. Like your Buddhas, they carved out of stone. Are people worshiping that shit? You got the totem poles, right, and the spirit animals and all of that, that was being worshipped by the Northern Kingdom and the Native Americans. All right. I mean, and it goes on. If you find some type of fucked up religion Jake in it. Worshiping false deities. And then right here, verse 68. The Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto thy enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. All right, that word buy goes into redeem. All right, let's see if we can get it. So this word for buy here is quana. All right. If you look at the outline of biblical usage, it says to get, acquire, all right, create, buy, possess. But if you go down to the translation count underneath the outline of biblical usage right here, where it says the King James translation count, okay, the word right here, some of the words you have: buy, get, purchased, buyer, possessor, possessed, owner, recover, and redeem. All right. So the word quana in Deuteronomy 28, the 68th verse, is referring to recover or redeem, because obviously we were sold as slaves. All right. So it doesn't make sense to say that you're going to sell yourself, but nobody going to buy you. Nobody going to sell you. Nobody's going to purchase you. All slaves are purchased. Okay, so common logic would tell you, especially if you know that that's an old English term, it's referring to recover or to redeem, meaning to place us back into our previous state. All right, or to redeem out of slavery. Okay, now nobody has redeemed us. Okay, because we are still currently found in the hand of our oppressor. Okay, we have to get driver's license, Social Security, birth certificates, and you can't. As much as people say, "Oh, why don't you niggas go back to Africa if you don't like it here?" Well, we fucking can't. All right, you know why? Because we need a passport to leave this motherfucker in the first place. And there's no way in hell that the powers that be would allow a true mass exodus. The country would collapse. So shut the fuck up with that. All right, it's just not gonna happen. All right, anyway, we're gonna be saved from this place. All right, but who did this happen to? Slavery on ships. All right, and no man can redeem you. All right, no man or woman can redeem us out of our condition. And we've had many men and leaders try to do so. But as we see, we are still at the bottom of the barrel in this society. Okay? So, describe to me what group of people that fits. We'll wait. All right. Right now we finna jump over to Jeremiah 17, chapter 17 and verse. Let's start at 3. All right. We're going to read 3 and 4 in the King James on the left. So, O my mountain in the field, I will give thy substance and all thy treasures to the spoil, and thy high places for sin throughout all thy borders. All right. Mountain is referring to a governing body, a government. All right. A system of government. All right. If you read it in the NLT, it says, so I will hand over my holy mountain. All right. The holy mountain is the holy government. All right. The sanctified governing body. All right. Along with all your wealth and treasures. All right. And your pagan shrines as plunder to your enemies. For sin runs rampant in your land. All right. The high places are the places of worship. That's why it says shrines, pagan shrines. All right. Back to the King James on the left side. Verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. All right. So we would be discontinued from our heritage, meaning we would be cast off. We would forget who we are. All right. And then it says, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. So the small hats, according to them, they've never lost their identity. They've never lost their heritage. They've kept it the entire time, according to their records and their beliefs. This is why some of them can say, oh, I'm a Cohen. You know, I go back to the line of Levi. All right, from the line of Aaron and Moses. Well, it says that the true biblical Israelites would be discontinued from their heritage. All right, that the Most High gave us, and that we would forget who we are. And then it says, to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. All right, during the time of World War II, you know, and all the atrocities that was surrounding that, you know, where they say 6 million Jewish people died. Well, they knew the lands that they were in. They weren't strangers to those lands. All right? Because they migrated there. Now us, we were abducted and carted off to places that we didn't know about. Okay? Throughout the 4 corners of the earth. Okay? So not just here in the Americas, starting at the island of Hispaniola, you know, Central, South, and North America, but scattered to the 4 winds. All right? And we didn't know the places that we were sent to, especially the people that were sent there via slave ship, according to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 68th verse. All right? So I've got various verses for you in the book of Deuteronomy, in the 28th chapter on down, you know, starting from the 16th verse on down, and then Jeremiah right here. Okay, so just look at these scriptures do a little research. All right. And if you, there's no way in hell you can come to the conclusion that the small hats are the so-called biblical Israelites, because they don't fit none of the curses. All right. So everything that we've gone over, you can apply them to select groups of people today. And those curses still cling to us, like it says, upon thy seed, upon thee and thy seed forever. All right? As a sign forever. Anyway, with that, I'm going to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, and Shalom. I'm out.